Have you ever wondered why some people seem to rise above life's challenges while others stay stuck in the same place for years? It's not luck. It's not some hidden secret that only a few chosen ones know. The truth is far simpler and far more powerful. The difference often comes down to something so small, so ordinary, that most people dismiss it before it has a chance to work. The tiny habits they choose to repeat every single morning. Think about it. Every great structure was once nothing more than a single brick. Every towering tree was once a fragile seed. Every life-changing success story began with one decision that seemed almost insignificant at the time. Yet when that decision was nurtured, when it was repeated consistently, it became unstoppable. The same principle applies to your life. The small things you choose to do at the start of your day, whether you realize it or not, are building the framework of your future. But here's the problem. We live in a world obsessed with instant results. We crave transformation overnight. We want to see progress immediately, and when it doesn't happen, we quit. We tell ourselves, this is too small, this will never work. And that single belief becomes the greatest thief of potential. What most people fail to see is the invisible power of compounding. How tiny, consistent actions accumulate and multiply over time, until they create results so massive they look like miracles to everyone else. Science has proven this. Psychologists call it the compound effect. A single choice repeated daily doesn't just add up. It stacks upon itself layer after layer until the growth becomes exponential. One glass of water instead of soda may not change your health in a day, but over months and years, that choice can transform your energy, your confidence, and even your lifespan. 5 minutes of writing down your goals every morning may feel trivial, almost unnecessary. But after a year of clarity, your mind begins to focus. Your decisions sharpen and opportunities appear where once there were none. The truth is, your mornings are the most powerful leverage point you have in life. Why? Because the first actions you take each day shape the story your brain will follow. When you begin with discipline, your mind feels capable. When you start with gratitude, your heart feels stronger. When you begin with purpose, your entire day bends toward progress. And when you string those mornings together, you don't just win the day, you win your life. But let me ask you, what are your mornings saying about you right now? Are they filled with distraction, rushing, and stress? Or are they building the foundation for the person you want to become? This isn't about perfection, it's about direction. Even the smallest shift, done consistently, has the power to turn your life into something extraordinary. History shows us this truth. Napoleon Bonaparte once said victory belongs to the most persevering. He wasn't talking about a single grand act of heroism. He was talking about persistence, about the power of showing up again and again, even when the action seems too small to matter. Great leaders, thinkers, athletes, and creators all built their legacies on the back of daily habits. What makes them different is not talent but discipline, not genius but consistency. And so why should you keep watching? Because the reward is life-changing. By the time you reach the end of this message, you'll no longer see your mornings as something to survive. You'll see them as your greatest weapon for transformation. You'll understand how even the smallest habit, something as simple as taking a deep breath, reading one page, or doing a single push-up, has the potential to compound into a future beyond your imagination. Imagine your life a year from now if you began every morning with one small intentional act. Imagine the person you would become, the energy you would feel, the doors that would open. It's not a dream, it's mathematics. Consistency compounds. And compounding creates change so powerful that it feels like destiny. The truth is, you don't have to wait for a perfect plan, a lucky break, or the right circumstances. You only need to take the smallest step today and repeat it tomorrow, and again the next day. Because in the end, it's not the size of a habit that determines your future. It's your willingness to begin, and your courage to continue. So let this sink in. Greatness is never born in one grand moment. It is built in the quiet, ordinary mornings when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, and when the action feels almost too small to matter. Those are the moments that define you. Those are the seeds of transformation. Those are the beginnings of a legacy. And if you hold on to this truth, if you choose to start small, stay consistent, and trust the process, You will one day look back and realize that what once seemed like nothing has turned into everything you ever dreamed of. That is the power of small beginnings. That is the key to compounding. And that is the path to a life that no setback, no failure, and no circumstance can take away from you. Why is it that the quiet hours of the morning hold so much power? It's because they set the tone for everything that follows. When you wake up and choose to act with intention, you are declaring to yourself and to the world that you are in control. Your first choices become the foundation for your day, and your day becomes the foundation for your future. The beginning shapes the end. And this is why mornings are not just hours on a clock. They are opportunities disguised as routine. Psychologists have discovered something profound called the fresh start effect. Our minds respond differently to beginning. The first day of the year, the first day of the month, the first hour of the morning. All of them create a psychological reset. It's a moment where we subconsciously feel more capable of change, more willing to take action, and more determined to stick to new patterns. Mornings give you that advantage every single day. They are a gift of renewal, a chance to start again with focus, clarity, and energy. But here's the challenge. If you surrender your mornings to chaos, you hand over your power before the day even begins. If the first thing you do is check your phone, scroll endlessly, or drown in distractions, you're not starting your day. You're reacting to it. You're placing your energy in the hands of others. That one choice creates a chain reaction of stress, urgency, and lack of direction. And by the time the day ends, you're left wondering why you feel unfulfilled, why your goals seem distant, why progress feels slow. On the other hand, imagine waking up and taking ownership of the first moment. Imagine beginning with silence instead of noise, gratitude instead of stress, clarity instead of confusion. Just a few minutes of focus each morning can shift your state of mind from reactive to proactive, from scattered to centered. And when you build this into a habit, your mornings become a weapon. In those hours, there are no urgent emails, no sudden problems, no endless interruptions. There is only space, a sacred space where you can align your mind, body, and spirit before stepping into the noise of life. This is why so many successful people guard their mornings fiercely. They know that if they win those first few hours, the rest of the day bends in their favor. Consider this. Energy is not infinite. You only have a certain amount of willpower, focus, and discipline each day. Studies show that these resources are highest in the morning and deplete as the hours pass. This is why starting strong matters. When you give your best energy to your highest priorities in the morning, you create unstoppable momentum. By the time the rest of the world is still waking up, you've already made progress. You've already built confidence. You've already created wins that no one can take away. And those wins carry forward. Momentum compounds just like habits. The simple act of beginning your day with discipline creates a ripple effect. You walk taller, think sharper, and act bolder. You handle challenges with more strength because you've already proven to yourself that you can take control. You face setbacks with resilience because you began the day on your terms, not on someone else's. You become the kind of person who doesn't wait for motivation. You create it. This is not about perfection. It's not about waking up at an exact hour or following a rigid system that drains the joy from life. It's about alignment. It's about recognizing that your mornings are your launch pad, and what you choose to do with them will either lift you higher or weigh you down. Even the smallest intentional act can shift your entire trajectory. Read a page, breathe deeply, write one goal, move your body for 5 minutes. These are not small. They are seeds of greatness planted in the soil of your morning. If you want to change your life, don't start by trying to control everything at once. Start by mastering your mornings, because mornings are the blueprint. They reveal your priorities, they define your focus. They determine whether you live on purpose or drift through the day aimlessly. When you own your mornings, you own your life, and the reward is far greater than productivity. The reward is freedom, freedom from chaos, freedom from wasted time, freedom from the feeling of living on repeat without progress. By controlling your mornings, you reclaim your power to design a life of purpose and direction. You begin to realize that greatness is not built in random bursts of effort. It's built in consistent moments of clarity, repeated at the start of every day. So ask yourself, how will you spend tomorrow morning? Will you let it slip away unnoticed, Or will you seize it as the most powerful tool you have? Because every morning you rise with intention. You rise closer to the life you were meant to live. Consistency is the bridge between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming. It's not the size of your actions that create transformation, it's the repetition. Anyone can start with excitement, but few have the discipline to continue when the excitement fades. And yet, that continuation is where the true magic happens. It's where character is built, where identity is shaped, and where results move from invisible to undeniable. The human mind is wired for patterns. Every repeated action sends a signal to the brain. This is who I am. When you choose discipline each morning, you are not just checking off a task. You are carving a new identity. Each small habit becomes a statement. Reading one page doesn't just build knowledge. It tells your mind I am a learner. Writing your goals doesn't just clarify your path. It tells your mind I am focused. Moving your body doesn't just strengthen muscles. It tells your mind I am resilient. Identity is not found. They underestimate how long it takes for habits to compound into noticeable results. They expect a harvest after only a few days of planting seeds. And when the visible change doesn't come quickly, they assume it isn't working. But success is not a sprint. It is a slow accumulation of daily choices. Those choices may feel invisible in the moment, but they are quietly shaping your future behind the scenes. And one day, when the compounding effect catches up, it feels as if everything changed overnight. Psychologists have shown that consistency builds something even more powerful than results: belief. When you keep a promise to yourself again and again, you begin to trust your own word. They strengthen your muscles, sharpen your energy, and train your mind to push through resistance. Over time, your body changes, but more importantly, your discipline deepens. The habit of moving each morning is not just about fitness. It's about building resilience, grit, and mental toughness that spills into every area of life. Or think about writing down your goals each morning. At first, it seems like repetition. The same words scribbled again and again. But repetition rewires the mind. Each time you write, your focus sharpens, your clarity grows, and your subconscious begins to align your actions with your vision. Suddenly, you notice opportunities you used to overlook. You make decisions that match your goals instead of working against them. Your life begins to move in the direction of what you've been writing. This is not magic, it's alignment. These habits are not grand, but they are powerful because they plant seeds. Each page read, each push-up completed, each goal written is a seed of transformation. And seeds, when nurtured, always grow. They may take time. They may grow slowly, silently, hidden beneath the surface. But one day, the growth becomes undeniable. One day, people will look at you and wonder how you changed, how you built the strength, the wisdom, the clarity. And you will know it was never one big leap. It was the small habits repeated every morning that redefined your future. The beauty of habits is that they compound in ways we cannot predict. One small act of discipline creates energy that leads to another. Reading one page might spark an idea that changes your career. Writing one goal might inspire a decision that transforms your relationships. Moving your body might give you the confidence to step into opportunities you once avoided. The habit itself is small, but the ripples it creates can alter the entire course of your life. The truth is, everyone has habits. The question is whether they are designed or default. Many people wake up and fall into habits of distraction, scrolling, rushing, reacting. These habits compound too, but they compound into regret. They create stress, wasted time, and lost potential. But the good news is that habits are not destiny. They are choices, and every morning gives you the power to choose again. Redefining your future does not require perfection. It doesn't demand hours of effort or flawless execution. It requires presence. It requires choosing one small act that aligns with the person you want to become, and repeating it until it becomes a part of you. Over time, the habit becomes automatic. The results become visible, and your life begins to transform in ways you never thought possible. So ask yourself, what habits are you willing to plant? What seeds will you nurture each morning? Because the future is not something that happens by accident. It is created in the ordinary choices of today, and the habits you commit to now will determine the story you tell tomorrow. Remember this: greatness is not hidden in some distant place. It is built in the ordinary mornings of discipline, in the simple acts of consistency, in the quiet habits that compound into extraordinary results. Start with one, nurture it daily, protect it fiercely, and over time, that one habit can redefine everything about your future. Growth rarely announces itself in the beginning. You wake up, do the habit, and nothing feels different. 1 week passes, still nothing. A month goes by, and you wonder if it's even worth the effort. This is where most people give up, because they cannot see the invisible progress being built beneath the surface. But compounding is never loud at first. It whispers, it hides. It grows in silence until the day it becomes undeniable. Think of water dripping on a stone. 1 drop does nothing. 10 drops make no difference. But thousands of drops, falling in the same place, begin to carve into solid rock. Because growth demands that you step outside the comfort of what is familiar. And the human brain is designed to protect the familiar, even when it limits you. Resistance will always appear at the beginning. It shows up in the form of fatigue, distraction, doubt, and delay. It convinces you that small habits are insignificant, that discipline can wait for tomorrow, that comfort is safer than change. But the truth is, resistance is a liar. It exaggerates the difficulty and hides the reward. It magnifies the short-term discomfort and blinds you to the long-term transformation. The only way to weaken resistance is to confront it. Every time you act in spite of excuses, resistance loses its grip. Every morning you push through the urge to stay in bed, you teach your mind that discipline is stronger than comfort. Every time you complete a habit when you don't feel like it, you carve a new pathway in your brain that makes the next time easier. What once felt like a mountain becomes a hill, and eventually it becomes flat ground. Think about the first time you tried something new, maybe running, reading, or writing. It felt heavy, awkward, maybe even pointless. But with repetition, the weight decreased. The resistance faded. The habit became natural. This is how discipline works. At first, it feels like a burden, but over time, it becomes a rhythm. And rhythm is effortless. Most people give up not because they lack potential, but because they misinterpret resistance. They believe struggle means failure. They believe difficulty means it isn't working. But in reality, difficulty is a signal of growth. Just like muscles grow by resisting weight, your character grows by resisting comfort. Without that resistance, there can be no strength. The moment you embrace resistance as proof of progress, everything changes. You stop fearing the struggle and start welcoming it. You understand that every excuse you conquer is a victory. Every discomfort you face is training. Every small act of discipline is making you stronger than the day before. Resistance is not your enemy, it is your teacher. And here's the secret. Resistance never fully disappears. Even the most successful people feel it. They still wake up some mornings and want to quit. They still face doubt. The difference is, they don't negotiate with resistance. They act anyway. They have trained themselves to move forward regardless of how they feel. That is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Not the absence of resistance, but the ability to rise above it. So when you feel that inner voice telling you to stop, reminding you how small the habit seems, or convincing you that you don't have time, remember this. Every time you push through, you are not just completing a habit, you are rewriting your identity. You are proving to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses, stronger than your fears, stronger than your limitations. Imagine the power of living each day with that mindset. Imagine never being controlled by resistance, but instead using it as fuel. Imagine how unstoppable you would become if every excuse only reminded you to act faster, to move stronger, to push harder. That is the power available to you every morning, and it begins with one choice: to show up despite resistance. In time, the very habits that once felt impossible will feel automatic. The discipline that once required struggle will become your second nature. And when that happens, you will look back at the excuses you once believed and realize they were never real barriers, they were only tests. Tests you passed because you refused to give in. Resistance may meet you every morning, but victory is always waiting on the other side of it. And the moment you choose persistence over comfort, you discover a truth that changes everything. Resistance doesn't stop you, it shapes you. It molds you into someone capable of more than you ever thought possible. And when you learn to conquer it daily, there is no dream too far, no goal too high, no future too great.